Good morning, 6th grade. I hope you guys are doing well, and I hope that you are getting better at determining parts of speech. Your word today is Nemesis. Go ahead and hit pause and try to figure out the part of speech and definition all on your own, and then double check as I go back over it. Okay, friends, so let's start with the image here. My nemesis is my sis. Knock, knock, knock. Sis, you've been in there for 2 hours. Oh my gosh. I think we all have a sibling that's like that. Okay. I want you to look at this second sentence with me. Tom is my nemesis. Okay, now here's a little trick. Let's go ahead and plug in a different word for nemesis. It doesn't have to make sense with the whole sentence. But let's just plug in a word that kind of fits the structure of the sentence, okay? So for example, usually, let's just say you randomly were saying, Tom is your what? Tom is my friend. You see how we plug in a different word. Let's plug in a different word. And it doesn't have to fit the sentence, the meaning of the sentence, but it should fit the structure. Tom is my neighbor. Tom is my enemy. Tom is my boyfriend. I don't know. Okay? So we can plug in a word that we know the part of speech for. And to kind of guess. So, I mean, think about it. Tom is my neighbor. That would fit. Usually when you say my what? Usually my refers to a possession, right? And like, my neighbor. He's my neighbor. He's my friend. When you possess something, you either possess something or someone. Not that it's really your neighbor, like you're keeping him in your pocket. It's not that kind of a possession. But anywho, so a good trick is to plug in a word that you know the part of speech of. And if it fits that general structure, you're probably correct. And with all of these, my friends, you might be wrong. That's okay. We want to get better at figuring these out on our own. But ultimately, if you don't know, Google it. That's a great idea. If you're not sure about something, you do your best, but then ultimately you want to know, so Google it. Nemesis is a noun, and let's try to figure out what it means. Tom is my nemesis because I can beat everyone who beats him in tennis, but I can't beat him. Okay. If I couldn't beat someone in tennis, I'd probably be frustrated. Okay. Potato chips are Paul's nemesis. If he takes one bite, he can't stop eating them. It sounds like Paul doesn't want to keep eating the chips. So the chips are something negative towards him. So let's try to plug in a word that maybe makes sense. Potato chips are Paul's weakness? That kind of makes sense to me. Potato chips are Paul's guilty pleasure. If we're talking about food, that makes a lot of sense. But let's plug those definitions up in our examples up at the top and see if it makes sense. Lex Luthor considers Superman his weakness? I don't think so. His guilty pleasure? Definitely not. What if we think about it like this? The potato chips are negative to Paul. So what if we plug in the word enemy? Potato chips are Paul's enemy. If he takes one bite, he can't stop eating them. Tom is my enemy or my greatest opponent. He's my opponent because I can beat everyone who beats him in tennis, but I can't beat him. My opponent, my enemy is my sis. And that is actually what a nemesis is. Okay. All right, my friends. Drum roll, please. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. By a very narrow margin. Anne-Marie has won the vote between the two classes. Here we have Anne-Marie Johansson, a native of Copenhagen, Denmark. It's a wonderful place. We're going to be meeting Anne-Marie and her family and her friends very shortly. Which puppet would you like to see next? mention in the comments on Google Classroom. Do you want to see Henrique? Do you want to see Ellen? Do you want to see Anne-Marie's parents? Ellen's parents? Let me know. Stay healthy. Love you guys.